Hello and welcome to Let's Create, the photography show. So welcome, Stuart McGlennon. I'm very pleased to introduce, and we're going to have a chilled talk. We're going to go over a few questions. You know me. I've got a list here. See you, Stuart. Look at this. Look at this.
Christ, that's a bit long.
Quite a few questions, but we'll not go on for too long. Now,
people... don't worry. But the missus is doing the nails upstairs.
That's
all
good.
Night.
Melting. So I'm just going to jump straight into it. And that is, who is Mr. McGlennon? You know, who is Stuart? Who is the man behind the camera? Just basically, quick throwdown.
Christ. I like to think I'm pretty straightforward. What you see is what you get, really, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't sort of... I think if you've watched any of the sort of videos I've put out so far on YouTube, it's, it would be pretty apparent that I call a spade a spade. And just, what you see is what you get, I suppose. There's certainly nothing hidden with me anyway.
Yeah. The best way to be, especially in this day and age, because everything is online, open, and free to discuss and talk about. And the pressures of modern life, which it's led me nicely here to my next question, because I see you as someone who's, you're not just chilled, you're beyond chilled. I'm watching and thinking, this guy's just nothing phased. I'll move from that composition. It's not working. Yeah, not bothered. Let's find something else. If it works, it works. And I love that, because there's a high standard to your work. And there's a reason behind that, because it's a profession, and there's not just, like you say, a jolly. It's not just about going out on a photo day. It's about actually producing a piece of art. Yeah. Now, I'm not a professional, but I feel I connect with that, because when I go out, I want to do that as well. I want to be connected to the landscape. I want to produce something that's the best I can. But do you know what? If it happens, it happens. If it happens, so the pressures of modern day life, and as a family man, how are you finding it? How do you stay so calm and chilled? What's the secret? I see the weights bench. That must help.
You know what? I need to get back on that weights bench. Christ, lockdown. Yeah, I need to get back into the exercise. What's the secret? Do you know what? I don't talk about it very often, but my son is 8 now.
Yeah.
And he's autistic. And I would say, if I had took up photography before we had my son, I'd probably be very different. Yeah. But the sort of, what's the best way I can put it? I would say our sort of family life and stuff, a lot of things have been put into perspective over the last sort of 4 or 5 years. And, when you go out with a camera, it's I mean, now it's my job. It's obviously important, but there's bigger things going on sometimes. And I think that in my personal life has certainly helped to sort of take the edge off a lot of things, because I think my partner would probably attest to this. I was probably quite a different person before having my son, I would say. So that's a big part of it, I would say.
Yeah, it transforms life when something more serious around you, especially with family. Loss of family for me, it kind of flicked a switch. But like you're saying, you put things in perspective. It's just a camera. It's just going out taking pictures. But there's nothing better, though, to clear your head, is there? Because I know they're hard work anyway, kids, full stop. But you must have your hands full a lot there.
Yeah, do you know what? It's getting easier as he gets older, because with his, I don't want to say condition, because it's not a condition. It's a neurological thing. But it was harder when he was younger, because he's probably what you would class as sort of low functioning, and if you like, he has communication issues and stuff like that. And when he was younger, it was really hard work because he was, you couldn't get anything out of him. It was really hard to sort of, because he's sort of speech delayed and stuff like that. It was very hard to do any kind of communication with him. So there was a lot of frustration on both sides. But as he's getting older, thankfully, I mean, it's a massive weight off our mind that he's actually starting to come out of his shell now. I mean, he's going to have a lot of challenges in his life, obviously, but at the moment, it's getting better. And I mean, with the photography and stuff like that, I mean, it does really put things into perspective. And it's hard to get wound up about whether a sunrise doesn't come off or something like that. You know what I mean? When there's those things going on in the background, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely does. It really does. You got to put a crust on the table, though. So your main source of income, if you like, is your gallery.
Yeah,
it is your bread and butter. It's what you do, and I think that's fantastic. Testament to the quality as well, because that's one of the main things that stands out for me. And it's important that you have a standard. It's difficult. That pressure's difficult, but it does get easier with time. And how long is that time? So gallery's been going, is it 4 years now? 5 years?
It'll be 3 years in May. So it's going pretty well. But I mean, me running this gallery, I mean, I was saying to you before we came on that there's a tiny fraction of landscape photographers doing it full time.
Yes,
it's an even tinier fraction of those that are running a gallery. Do you know what I mean? It's almost a bit of a dying art now. You hardly see any landscape photography galleries anywhere, really. Do you know what I mean? So it can be quite a tough gig sometimes, but it's very rewarding.
Yeah. Well, you're in the right place. I guess it was just like slotting pieces together for you growing up in the Lake District, and because you wasn't a landscape photographer, was you originally?
No. I wish I had this sort of romantic storied past in photography where I'm picking up film cameras at 10 years old and all that stuff. But no, couldn't be further from the truth for me, really. I mean, I only got into photography right at the end of 2015, more as a sort of stress reliever from what was going on with my son at home more than anything else. And I mean, I'm quite ashamed to say, to be honest, that living here all my life, I mean, I've lived 15, 20 minutes from the fells, and
I know
I haven't walked up any of them. You know what I mean? But I spent, I mean, in my youth, I spent all my time on football and rugby pitches. And then when I went to university, I took up golf. So I was hugely into golf for many years.
Yeah.
And all of that was taking up all my time. So I never went for a walk up the fells or anything. So it was only like 2015 when I started actually covering the Lake District, if you like. So, yeah.
But I think that's an important thing, because I used to play golf, and I guess you was like me. You threw yourself into it where you was doing it 3-4 times a week.
Thing is with me, I mean, the photography's kind of followed the same pattern as every other sort of hobby that I've done. I'll either do it to the extreme or I won't do it at all. And I'm incapable of just sort of casually doing something. I'll either just, it's either all or nothing, really. So with the golf, I mean, I played to like, well, if you're a golfer, you'll understand all this. Obviously, I've got to like sort of scratch +1.
Bloody hell! I was 8. That's good going.
That's pretty good. That's still pretty good. Things like playing in open qualifying and county stuff. But you'll know that when you're playing any kind of level with golf, it's not just a knockabout with your mates once a week. It was 3-4 times a week. And the problem with golf, as much as I loved it, you can't do it quickly. It's like it's 4 hours around the course. It's another 2 hours if you're driving there or having a drink afterwards. And as things were getting more difficult at home, I couldn't, in my head, sort of justify putting that on my partner too much. So I kind of sort of
exactly.
moved away from golf and then started the photography. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I
yeah.
will go back to golf at some point, but
Yeah,
I've probably
I keep thinking about it. My clubs are there. I had to stop because of osteoarthritis in my neck.
oh,
I was going driving range and hitting 300 yards, no problem. And then this
yeah.
one day I went and was driving and I went, oh, what's that? I can't move.
Oh,
Went to the
it's
doctors.
now worse with your
Yeah,
back. I
it's
mean, touch
it's
wood, I've
awful.
never had any sort of back problems, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
any kind of back stuff for golf's a nightmare, isn't
Well, I just found out my discs had started crumbling. So,
it?
all right, what do we
That's
do? Put a
the
I'll put a
Tiger Woods
backpack
issue
on
with
in.
that.
I'll put a backpack on instead and go up a mountain. It's less painful, but I've
But
strengthened their muscles. That's the thing. That's what they told me. So I'm going to skip on. We're going to get to it because we could talk all day about golf. I guess I
they don't want to hear
I
about
love
golf.
it. So I'm going to drop one here because it's a big thing for me. This about ambition. I'm quite ambitious, and I see yourself as being ambitious. You wouldn't have a gallery if you wasn't. What's your big plans or little plans? What are your plans? I know the world we're in is a bit at the moment to make plans, but do you see yourself having two galleries, or do you see yourself taking this internationally, or what big or little plans? Whatever's
Big
on
or
you,
little.
yeah, whatever you
I
feel.
suppose. I suppose with the gallery in the sort of medium to long term, I'd like to have a bigger place. I mean,
Yeah,
next time you're in Keswick, whenever we're allowed to bloody
I know.
move around again, you'll see that it's quite a small space,
Yeah,
and while it's good at the moment, it is quite limiting as to what I can put on the walls. So I'd like to get into a bigger space
oh,
ultimately in the next sort of 2 or 3 years, but um, I suppose on the photography front, I mean, I don't know. I don't really set like targets as such. I mean, I'd like to probably get a book out in the next
yeah,
probably 18 months, something like that. But I see a lot of books sort of getting put out and stuff. And
I know.
I think I think if you've got a huge audience that you can sell it to, you can, I mean, I could bang a book together now of random sort of
Yeah,
vistas of places. But I think when I put a book out, I want it to hang together and,
yes,
you know what I mean, have a really strong sort of theme in it.
yeah,
And at the minute, because as much as it's been great having this gallery in the last sort of 2 or 3 years, I think I've mentioned in other bits. And can you hear me?
yeah. I can hear you fine, perfect.
Just my mic's flashing in. Yeah, as good as it's been having this gallery, it has made me sort of change my approach to taking images in the last 2 or 3 years. And I feel like I've almost, in some respects, kind of lost a couple of years in terms of making personal images that I could put in a book,
Yeah, yeah,
which is fine because I knew that was going to be the case when I took that shop on. I was going to have to just sort of get my head down
yeah,
and spend 18 months, a couple of years, just making sure that I had that gallery stocked with images that would sell.
yes,
And I mean, thankfully, I'm coming to the end of that now, and I can probably get back to doing more sort of personal work that would fit with a book. But yeah, I've just kind of held off a little because I've had, people do ask me about books and stuff, especially people coming in the shop who aren't into photography at all. They're just sort of coming in and they see all the galleries with books on sale and stuff, and they go, "Oh, do you do a book?" And I'll say, "Well, I am going to do a book at some point,
yeah.
but it's going to be a bit further down the line." But yeah, bigger space and probably a book in the next sort of couple of years, I would say.
Brilliant, brilliant. With it, yeah, pulling it together with a story, something that hangs, like you say, that
Yeah,
has some kind of thought to it. Yeah, I think Rachel Talibart's book that I got, it hangs very well together, and
yeah,
I've been buying quite a few books lately. You can see behind me, and there's a few there from years ago, Charlie Waite, and
yeah,
always just keep looking in different artists, different creators.
There's nothing quite like it, buying it in a book form, though, is there? Do
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes, I agree.
You can
Yeah,
look at stuff on a screen all you like, but
yeah,
it just doesn't have the same quality. And it's the same with looking at prints in a gallery as well. It's,
yeah.
you know, people will often say, you know, there's no substitute to just sort of being in front of it and feeling it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the pixels are just, we're too busy looking for fault, I think, on a screen. But when you see it in front of you naked, as naked, but you know what I mean, as a
Yeah,
print, you really get a sense of detail. You can't start doing that on it and pinching it. You know, you get
yeah,
what you get,
yeah, yeah.
and I love that. I love to see prints. Mentioned Nick Livesey before we started, and
Mm.
he had some images up in a little gallery he had at Capel. And when I first
Oh,
walked
Shabab
in,
Cafe.
yeah, Shabod,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, he's got some. I've been in there.
and
Nice.
yeah, it just blew me away seeing them, the size of them as well.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the next question. Giving everyone who's listening, I hope people are listening, some insight into your thoughts. I know this isn't your own photography, this is done specifically, but your thoughts on choosing a shot to display in the gallery. What process do you go through? Do you set yourself a brief? Do you have a time scale? When one comes down, do you have a backup? Or
Um, so first of all, I would say in terms of planning shoots, what works best for me is I try to sort of say, right, today I'm going to go out and try and get something for the gallery. And then
yeah,
another day I'll just relieve myself of that and I'll just say, right, I'm just going to go out and just take pictures for myself. Because over the last couple of years, I've sort of tried going out and sort of mixing them together. And I just find it hard work. I'll sort of be there constantly thinking, "Oh, have I missed something? Should I go back and take it?" And I just end up getting a bit sort of frazzled with it. So I try and
yeah,
sort of separate them to start with. Second thing, bit boring, bit technical, but I'm always looking to try and get some sort of panoramic image.
yes,
That's just purely because they sell in the gallery. People
yeah,
want stuff that sort of fills walls. So if I can get a panoramic image from the morning, I'll do it.
yeah,
Um, but in terms of sort of planning where to go and things like that, I mean, you build a lot of it around the hotspots, the sort of popular tourist areas, the popular walking routes, that sort of thing. And the other thing as well, you're listening to feedback from customers because you know the worst thing is when you get a customer who comes in and go, you know, oh, have you got a picture of such and such a place, and you haven't got it,
yeah.
and then 5 minutes later another person comes in and asks for the same thing. You're like, oh, right, there's 400 quid
Two
down the
sales.
drain. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm always constantly making a note of these things and sort of factoring them into shoots. But obviously, this sort of COVID period at the minute is making that, you know, a little bit more difficult. So I've got a sort of mental list
yeah.
of about 20, 30 places that I need to sort of tick off. And,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
good. That's
as I
brilliant.
say, I'm getting further down that list now than I was, obviously, but there's still, you know, there's still a few that I need to sort of tick
Yeah.
off. And it can end up being a little bit of a box ticking exercise. And it's not the sort of approach that I actually enjoy too
Yeah.
much, if you
It's
know what I
like
mean.
that with all jobs, though, isn't it? There's that
Yeah,
consistency, there's that working your way through, ticking them off. That's good in a way because that is what keeps it professional and separate from your
yeah, yeah,
expression. Like you shot your last video you did. I'll put some links down below and on the video for everyone to Stuart's last video he did at Wastwater, like a fence
yeah,
to nowhere. Um, I really enjoyed that, but I can see that
yeah.
you'll be going back there again because I could tell you was quite frustrated with it.
Yeah, that's about as frustrated as I get, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah,
But
that's what made me laugh because you just
yeah.
weren't bothered and you still got something. And
Ah,
it was a good shot still. You know, there was
oh, thank you.
the second shot, the second part of it where you moved
Yeah,
with the light changed, it was on the post. I found all that interesting about removing posts and how far you're going. A lot of people don't consider them things, you see. And I think
Yeah,
that was insightful.
it can be perceived to be quite sort of finicky, that sort of thing. But it's, you know, some of the people I mean, still sort of get feedback from and discuss images with. I had a lot of that drummed into me sort of quite early on, you know, just little things like, you know, the fence post in the right place and stuff like that. They do make a difference. But yeah, I mean, I'm really sort of anal about that sort of thing. Like, I don't sort of come across on the camera too much about it because I don't want to sort of bore people with stuff like that. But you can be sure that I'm thinking it if I'm not saying it. You know what I mean?
You can see it though. You can see that thought process, like especially in that last video. You're moving, and face twitching. He's not happy. He's moving. I'm going to jump into another question here because this one's really a big one because I want a discount. Sadly, very sadly, due to the world we live in, your workshops, which to anyone who needs to learn landscape photography, they will be a must to go out with you, especially with Mark Littlejohn. Now, are these still to take place? And when do I get my discount?
Well, I run one with Neil Burnell in autumn of every year, and unfortunately, because of the current situation, we had to cancel that 2 days before running it, which was an absolute shitter, basically. That'll be running again in autumn. We're just sort of trying to figure out accommodation, because I was looking at booking a place the other day, and as you can imagine, places are starting to cash in now, so the prices have just
going
right up. So once we get the accommodation nailed down for that'll be running usually end of October, start November. The one with Mark was due to be running end of February this year, but because we've just had to knock it on the head, because it's, we could run it in sort of March, April, but there's, they're still saying we're going to be locked down by then. So and then once you're past April, for running workshops, it's gone. You're basically residential ones anyway. You're back into sort of summer. September and then
you're going into,
because I've got the one with Neil in October. With me and Mark are just going to run that one again in February next year. So hopefully,
lovely.
Fingers crossed.
And plenty snow.
But it is on the website. All the details and stuff's there. I think Mark's handling the bookings for that. So, but yeah, it will be running anyway.
I had to mention
one way or another.
One way or another. I had to mention it because together, both of you going out there, my goodness me.
Mark's a good lad. Have you met Mark?
Do you know, I'd love to have met him. I've never met him, and he's buggered off Scotland now, hasn't
he? He's exactly how he is on social media.
Yeah.
Just a really nice fella, but just daft as a bush as well.
Good stuff. I like that. I can relate to that. I'm not right at Ed myself.
Nah, you'd have a good laugh.
I'd hope so. Yeah, I would. That's why I said about a discount, because it's all honest. I'd pay full price and come with both of you for that day, because it'd be well worth it, even if we just talked. Do you know what I mean? If I come away with nothing, I wouldn't be asked. It'd just be good to spend some time.
We might be able to sort something out.
Well, that'd be amazing. Really. There's a few photographers. I speak to Neil a little bit now and again. He passes comment, and when someone like yourself, or like you pass comment on an image, or Neil pass comment on an image, or Mark does, it's not something that I think it means something. It means something because of proven skill, proven images, and respect for that individual. And I'm waffling on here. I don't even know what the question.
Well, no. I mean, I think I know what you're getting at. I mean, the thing. I mean, we were talking off air about that blog, but one of the things I said in it was that, the sort of culture that we have now. It's a very sort of throwaway thing just to hit like.
Yeah.
And I mean, I try and, but I mean, we're all guilty of it. Everyone, does it now and again. But if I like something, you can be sure that I like it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not just sort of casually, because
Yeah.
if you do that and you do it, there isn't. There's a lot of good photography out there, but there's not a lot of great photography out there. Certainly not in the sort of volume that people are hitting like. Do you know what I mean? So, if you're doing that 50 or 100 times a day, I think you've got to sort of question: is it really a good image, or are you just doing it because you're being nice online? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a lot of people as well want to put an image out every day, and I just think that's terrifying. That scares the Jesus out of me, because I think surely I did a 365, and honest to God, I'll never do that again. It was a great learning process. I enjoyed it, but it became a chore. And at one point, I was seeing compositions in my sleep and just starting to not like. And that most of that was done with a phone, so it wasn't even to slow down or to take my time and consider it. It was mainly, I'm driving home from work, I've got to get a shot. But that had a beauty in itself. That had a fun in it as well. But
must suck the joy out of it a bit.
Social media is awful for that. It didn't, because I knew it was a project and I didn't put pressure on myself. That's the thing. It's when you put that pressure on and you're saying, I've got to put an image out every day.
Yeah, you should never be in that position. No.
That's
my approach to sort of social media hasn't changed since I started doing photography. If I've got something I like, I'll put it out, and if I don't, I don't. I mean, I know it's painfully simple, but I just think if you fall, there's so many people now, and especially this current situation, which is making it worse for people, is that they just get into this sort of tunnel vision sort of perspective with social media, just churning out stuff all the time. And I mean, for me personally, I couldn't do that at all.
That's why I call my videos projects. I give each one is a project, and it has a process. It goes through a start and a finish and an output, if you like, and then it goes to social. And I've had people say to me, why'd you put 20 or 10 images on Instagram one after the other? Because I like seeing them all. I don't want to put one image and another where you have to flick through. And they were saying, but for SEO purposes, you get better engagement if you put them all in one post. I'm like, but I want them all separate, because it's a project, it's a group of images, and then I quite enjoy putting it together. As with yourself, Instagram, your feed, how much time do you think spending time on that? Do you spend quite a bit of time working it out, how you're going to portray yourself? No, skip that.
I do what a bit. I mean, I was saying before about Mark, and Mark's got a very similar attitude to me with that sort of stuff. If I've got something, I'll just put it on there. I mean, if you look through my feed, it's not curated in any way. There'll be a snowy picture of a pony one day, like that from that last vlog, or you'll get a long exposure of a fence, or it doesn't fit a theme. I mean, I haven't put anything on Instagram for 5-6 days. You know what I mean? I just I think again, if you just fall into that sort of trap of just churning it, I mean, I mean, social media is what it is. You can exploit the sort of the algorithms and all that. There's a clear method to doing all of that, but I mean, for me, it just feels a bit soulless.
Lifeless, soul destroying.
It is. I just haven't got the inclination for that. I never have, to be honest with you.
How's it going on YouTube though? How are you enjoying that? You're building obviously community there, and you getting to talk to people. I think that's a great thing about YouTube. How's it going?
Yeah, I mean, it's. Do you know what? I've really enjoyed learning a new skill in terms of the video side of it. I mean, I just, starting with zero video skills. So that side of it I've really enjoyed. And I mean, I'm trying loosely to stick to a sort of weekly schedule, if you like. But I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but if I can get one out every 10 days, I'm doing pretty well. And I don't sort of stick to a, like, you know, every Sunday at 10 a.m. or all that sort of stuff. I just
good man. Yeah.
But I'm just going to do the same thing with YouTube that I've done with anything else. I mean, things like Instagram and Facebook, I've never paid for an ad on any of those, or, you know, I've never gone down the same sort of path with chasing algorithms and stuff like that. You just bang them out, and if people like them, then, you know, great. I mean, the main motivation for me doing YouTube, really, to start with, I mean, still the case now. I mean, I'm, you know, still very early doors doing it, but the main motivation for me doing them was actually so when people came in the gallery, they could look at a picture, and I could say, you know, if they buy that picture, I could say, oh, you know, if you want to see a bit more about the background, how that picture was made, you can go on YouTube and, you know, you can see the video. So if you ever come in the gallery, some of the shoots that I've done on YouTube that have actually ended up with a print on the wall, I've got like QR codes on the
cool
on the tickets, so they can, you know, they scan it on the phone and they can go and have a look at it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was really just to sort of supplement what I'm doing with the gallery more than anything else.
More depth. It's good fun. I love it, mate.
It is good. I'm enjoying doing them more than I thought I would. I mean, I'm not. I don't think. Well, I mean, it comes naturally to you, I think, being on camera, but no, it does. But I'm getting used. I'm getting more used to it. I mean, I'm a bit sort of on the fence with doing the whole bits to camera and stuff like that. I don't get nervous about it in any way. Fortunately, I've got a bit of experience with sort of public speaking and stuff like that, so it doesn't bother me too much. But I'm still getting used to it, I would say.
Yeah, it's not easy. Even still now,
No.
I struggle. I just have this thing in my head where it switches, and it's like I don't care. I just have this switch where I just, it's very strange. It's almost like there's another me saying, "Don't worry, you'll be all right." And
see, I can't do I like watching your videos because you can. You can tell, you know, when you're doing the bits to camera, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it does seem like it's very off the top and just sort of as it's coming, you know. But you know,
it is. Yeah.
When you watch some videos and they're clearly very, very scripted, very sort of stilted, and I'm trying to sort of follow more what you're doing and just sort of, you know, it's off the top, and, you know, if I have to retake it a couple of times, then great. But I'm certainly not, you know, stood there looking at a, you know, thing on my phone with notes and stuff like that. I couldn't do that.
The technical side of it is always there. You're thinking at the end of the day, for me, I want to get a good shot, or at least something I can think I'm proud of. So I tend to do everything. I put the pressure on myself. I tend to do everything as it's happening.
Right.
So
I see. That's where I tried to do that, and then I'm finding I'm better off just getting the composition nailed and even take the shot beforehand, and then I'll do the talking bit after. Do you know what I mean? I've had a couple of videos where things have been happening quite quickly, and I've had to just sort of do it while I'm there. But if I can help it, I'll try and get the thing all lined up first before I do any sort of speaking.
It's the best way to do it. It's just idiots like me who think, you know what, sun's happening, light's happening, let's get on, let's take a picture and vlog at the same time. And it's that exhilaration for me, you see.
But that's, I quite like that sort of thing, because it's, you know, you're in the story, you're in the moment. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think I'd rather see that than not anyway.
Yeah. So we're going on to vlogging. We're talking about YouTube. You put a video out, just a quick mention over it. You was at Great Melfell, and we spoke beforehand saying I was going, "Oh, Stuart, what are you doing?" Because the world we live in, people do have opinions, and it'd be interesting to just hear a little bit more about your thoughts on this as a professional, self-employed photographer, getting out and to get that image, how important it is. Very important for you. And if you adapt on that, let people know. Just
Yeah.
we're in lockdown, but we still have to go and do these things. I had to go and photograph two people from London where I work, and I'm working from home here, but I still had to go to the office, and we still have to do our jobs. So I find
Yeah.
that an interesting in your take on that.
Well, I mean, the government have got an inordinate amount of things wrong with this current situation. But the one thing that's always been clear to me, anyway, is that it's you work from home, and if you can't go to work, it's as simple as
Yeah,
that. I
it's
think
as simple as that,
it
isn't
is
it?
literally that simple. But I
Yeah.
think part of the problem is that people are looking at the guidance and they're getting the part about key and critical workers mixed up. Because if you look at the guidance, it sort of gives a couple of examples about
Mhm.
critical workers or whatever, but it's not saying other people can't go to work.
Yeah.
What it's saying is that critical and key services can stay open, but if you're a non-essential retail store, you have to close
Yeah.
basically. But if you're self-employed and
Yeah.
you're a lecky or a plumber or whatever,
Yeah.
you don't just you can't stop working. You know
I
what I mean?
know. I know. Yeah.
And if there's an awful lot of self-employed people out there who can't claim furlough, because a lot of the time, if you know anything about self-employment, um, you don't pay your taxes and your wages through pay as you earn. You only pay a tiny amount through it, so you're not able to claim furlough. So you're really left with no option in terms of landscape photography. My job is outside; it's not
Yeah. You've got to
indoors, so
carry
I
on.
can't do that
Yeah.
from indoors.
Yeah.
And I think part of the problem is that a lot of people, because there's so few professional landscape photographers now, they'll immediately see a video online or a picture or something like that, and they'll just relate it to their own situation as a photographer, if they're a hobbyist or whatever.
Hmm.
And they just want to jump down your throat because they think that you're out having a jolly or something like that. Now,
Yeah.
the reality for a professional photographer is you live and die by your portfolio. Everything you do is linked to the business in one way or another. It might be a picture that you take, and then in 6 months' time, someone sees that picture online and they go, "Oh, I want to have a workshop with that guy." That picture that you took that day has then resulted in a sale further down the line. It might be the next day you put it on your website and someone buys that as a print. So it's
Well,
all
great Mel
yeah,
Fell. They couldn't have picked a better vlog, a better place to show why that was so important, because the images that you got from that, for me, are gallery standard,
yeah,
high quality. And they
yeah,
will probably
yeah,
last you for a long time. That memory, this moment of going out and doing that for your work, that
yeah.
video for me summed it up so well, because if you hadn't, that was a lot of money lost. It's only a moment in time, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, purely from a sort of hard nosed commercial point of view, like you say, that I can, within reason, I can tick that place off now.
Hmm.
Purely for shooting for the gallery, I can go, right, I don't have to go to Great Metal Fell for quite a while now. But that image, or one of the images, or whatever I got from that, there's a couple of images that I'll probably put on the wall in the gallery. They now have commercial value
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
They might get picked up in future by a magazine or something like that. So it's all in one way or another linked to the business. So it's,
Mhm.
if you sit at home and you sort of, casting judgment at certain photographers going out, just bear in mind that
Yes.
some people are doing it for their living. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I don't have the ability to just sort of sit at home for 3 months because I can't claim furlough, and my business, my shop front has been closed,
Yeah.
and in terms of the grants that they're actually giving, because this is the other thing a lot of people won't understand, if they are in a 9 to 5 job and they're getting furlough, because my partner's like that. the government are giving grants out to businesses, but they're a tiny fraction of the revenue that you've actually lost. I mean, we were saying there about them workshops that have been cancelled. They're a fair chunk of money,
bread and butter,
and I can't claim that back.
No,
do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
So for this 3-month period, I mean, I'll be going out and continuing to shoot. I mean, I'm gonna obviously use common sense. I'm not going to go to areas where there's high risk. I think that's a fair compromise.
Yes.
I'm going to stay away from some of the sort of high tops and stuff like that. But outside of that, I have to keep working.
Common sense is the key word there, Stuart. Yeah.
Common sense.
Fabulous talking to you, man. Seriously, I've really enjoyed this. I know I've bombarded you with a lot of questions, and we're going to wrap it up because it gets that way where I've had a few guests on now, and I think, do you know what? I could talk all night, and I've really enjoyed this. And my only other thing to say to you is it's not my final question, because you need to tell us where you are, how we can find you, and all that. But before we do, what's for tea?
What's for tea?
What's for tea? Or have you had your tea?
I've had my tea. I'm the chef in our house. I made a Jamie Oliver recipe prawn, like a prawn pasta. That was my tea. Yeah,
lovely. Very nice. I made the wife a steak. Very good. Yeah, I made the wife a steak.
My partner's not so keen on the steaks.
Yeah. She's a chef. So I had to do a good job. That's why I sent you that message saying I'll be there at 8. I think I've got to get this right. I've got to get this right. I knew she loved it. She loved it. So that's a bonus.
Oh,
yeah. So go on, tell us, where can we find out about Stuart online and your gallery? Give me all the information about where we can find your images and everything.
So the website is www.lensdistrict.com. I can't claim credit for Lens District. My partner actually thought of that name.
It's a belter.
It's not a bad name.
It's a belter.
Lensdistrict.com for the website. Just Stuart McGlennon on Instagram, Stuart McGlennon on YouTube, and Stuart McGlennon Photography on Facebook. I still truck along with Facebook, but it doesn't. I don't think they get much sort of traction out of Facebook these days. So
come and join the group. Let's create.
You great. Yes, I will join your group. Yes. Let's create, isn't it? Yeah.
Let's create. Yeah, I'm not pushing there. I'm not. That wasn't an advert, but if Stuart joins us, we'll get him
join you.
We'll get him doing some critique on y'all. There you go.
Oh, don't do that.
Right. So I'm going to end there. Thank you very much, Stuart. Brilliant.
Pleasure.
And I'll do a piece to camera after where I'm going to call you on. No. It's been brilliant. I'm loving doing this, and I hope people are enjoying this and enjoying hearing what Stuart had to say. And at the end of it all, I'm just getting people on because I love the work and I love their attitude. So there'll be a lot more people to come in future. Siddhi!